Hello everybody. In today's video, we figure out what's going to be best to use as dye for the wood. Are we going to stain it with inkjet dye? Are we going to do Vallejo modeling paint? Or are we going to do clothing dye? Also, we're going to get the bulkhead planking done. Maybe even put the side of the ship on. So if you want to see that and more, make sure you stay tuned. Hello BSC family, and welcome back to my bench. So today we're going to start figuring out what I'm going to use to stain the wood on the deck. Okay, I've bought a few things, I've had a few things, so trying whole different approach here, and I'm trying to stay with acrylic or some sort of water-based stain, right? Now I could go and spend like $30 for a freaking stain and, hope it's the right color that I want. And if not, go spend another $30 on another small can of stain and so on and so on, right? But I also want acrylic because the water will dry and like the moisture will come back out of the wood, hopefully without warping anything. But at least then I can still paint things that need to be painted. An oil base, if you do an oil base, you kind of have to stick with an oil-based paint, right? Because that oil dye will always be there. Whereas the acrylic dyes or a water-based dye, the moisture or the water will evaporate and only leave the dye itself, right? So the coloring is the only thing there, and you can color over the top of the color with either water or oil-based or lacquer-based paints, right? So I found a few things. Now, I went to the dollar store. They didn't have the liquid style dye, which is what I wanted. I may still look around for more. I don't know. But here we've got a black fabric dye, Tint X, right? And I've got brown as well. Okay, $3, not bad. I can get some from Amazon. They're a liquid dye. I can't remember if they're the same brand or not, but they're already liquid, which would be kind of nice because this here you have to use boiling hot water and to dissolve it far enough. This one was good. I dissolved this one. This one's the brown. There's very little grit left in there at all. But the black one, by the time I was done mixing the brown, I got to the black, and the black dissolved a little bit, but the water had cooled down too much. And can you see that? Do you see the pile of grit on there? Right, so it never dissolved properly. Now, I could dump this into a steel pan or pot or something and throw it on the stove, which is kind of what they tell you to do anyways. They actually look for quite a boiling point on this thing here. I tried a Vallejo. This is just Vallejo black. It's an acrylic color, of course, and it actually worked pretty good. I can put some flow improver in here and a little bit of water and thin it out pretty good, but if it dries too much, then it starts turning into a paint. So I got to really stay on top of keeping it thin so it acts more like a stain than a paint, right? So that's fine. And then I started thinking, I says, well, you know what? An inkjet printer, the refillable, the bottles for refilling your inkjet cartridges, they are an acrylic ink, right? Like they're an acrylic ink. And they even say, like, if you print your own decals, you when you use an inkjet, you have to seal the decal, because as soon as you put it in water, if you don't seal it, all your ink goes all over the water. All right, it's gone. So this is water soluble, which actually right now is working pretty darn good. I got to put some water in. Oh no, this is just straight ink. I haven't even put water in here. So this is just straight ink, which in all reality worked pretty darn good. Now I've got a few little pieces here that I've been trying out. This here is a piece of the walnut, and the walnut isn't too bad for staining. Okay, we've got the Vallejo on this end right here, so it actually stained pretty good. Now this is applying it and wiping it off. The center one is the water soluble clothing dye, which kind of stains it but leaves a lot of the reddish brown behind. And then you've got the acrylic inkjet dye, right? The printer ink. Okay, now that's not too bad. When it comes to, I didn't do the brown because I'm kind of leaning away from the brown. But anyways, here's a piece of the walnut and a piece of the, I don't know what it is, birch or whatever. Where are we? Here we are. Oh, there we are. So this is the brown clothing dye. So it actually did pretty good, you know, especially on the walnut. And it actually did pretty good on the birch, right? Like it actually stained pretty good. Looks good. It's nice and even, not blotchy, right? But again, I'm kind of going for darker than this. So it is an option for certain stuff. Now, the black clothing dye on the birch, where are we? Right there. So as you see, ignore the end piece, right? The very end piece. But right here, you can see that we've got one coat, two coats, and after the third coat, it doesn't seem to do much other than it's almost dulls out like a chalky gray black. Yeah, it's not bad. Kind of gives it age. I was kind of playing around. This here is the, what did I try? There was something else. Oh, this was the, I tried out a bit of the Createx Candy Black. Now it seems to work good, but if you don't get it just right, and I'll show you here in a second, it made it blacker, which is okay. But here's the Createx Candy Black. And it almost leaves like a purpley hue to it. Now, two coats seems to get better, right? Then I put the clothing dye on top of it, and see how it kind of made that like almost a gray black on the end of it, right? Right on the tip here, kind of a gray black. So it's an effect that we could go for. But again, I find that it leaves too much of a purpley color because it is a candy black. I don't have a Createx black, so here is the, where are we? This is three coats, as you can see, on the birch, and this is the clothing dye. All right, so it doesn't look too bad on the birch, but again, I found a couple other pieces I tried, and it ended up getting blotchy. And I'll kind of show you here in a second. And this here is the Createx Candy Blue or Candy Black. It doesn't look too bad on camera, but when you're looking at it in real life, it has got a very purpley hue to it. All right, and that's because it's a candy. I was just trying it. So it kind of works, but I don't know. Yeah, this one here is on the birch. Let's see if it will here. This is on the birch. And again, we've got the printer ink. We've got the Vallejo paint. And then we've got the clothing dye. Now you see how the clothing dye just almost didn't sink in. It barely dyed it. Now this side you can really see that it's gotten blotchy. All right. Now the Vallejo kind of did the same thing. I don't know if there's more water content in it or something, less pigment. But so far, I'm kind of liking the printer ink because it is a very concentrated. You can see here, this is the printer ink on the walnut and on the birch. And that actually looks pretty good. Nice and dark, but yet you can still see the wood grain, right? Now I tried it on some 1/8" plywood that I get from the dollar store. And now here, on here, what I did is 2 coats of brown on the whole thing. Then I put this 2 coats of brown from the clothing dye, 2 coats of black over the brown, black clothing dye, and 1 coat of the Createx Candy Black. Doesn't look too bad. Then I went with 2 coats of the clothing dye black, which, as you see, it barely covered it. Then 2 coats of brown over that, the brown clothing dye, and then just 1 coat of the Createx Candy Black over it. All right, no brown underneath. Like, you know what I mean, right? And then this here is just, this is the Candy Black. This one here. This is the Vallejo Black. And this is the printer ink. Only 1 coat on all 3 of these. All right. So with all of that, I'm very much leaning towards the printer ink black. Good thing I only spent $6 for clothing dye. But hey, since I wear so much black, I guess I can just remake some of my black. So yeah, big problem with the clothing dye, especially if it's not liquid, it's a powder. You need boiling water to really dissolve that stuff. If it's not, it gets very grainy. And this here, it works decent, but I find if you don't maintain the moisture in it, it starts turning into a paint, and then that could really cause a problem. Straight out of the bottle, the printer, refillable printer inks, is probably the best if you're looking for black. Brown, you'd have to kind of make your own, which if you run out, could be a pain to try and remake. You can do it because you've got the yellow, you got the magenta, and you've got the blue, right? So you could make a brown and then just a hint of black just to darken it up or whatever, right? But anyway, so yeah, I think the printer ink is the one we're going to use. So I'm going to clean up this mess, and while I'm cleaning up this mess, hey, if you're liking these videos, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that like button for me. Please hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. If you are, thanks to all my subscribers. You guys are awesome, and I wouldn't be here doing this stuff on video if it wasn't for you guys. Also, make sure you hit that bell button. Make sure that all notifications are turned on so you don't miss out on anything. Give me a follow on my Instagram and my Facebook group. Links for them are down in the description. And if you want to help out the channel in any way, I do have a PayPal me link down there as well. And I have a Teespring store. Go check out the merch that I have there. Pick something out for yourself or for the wife or friends. So just give me a minute and I'll be right back. Okay, everybody. Now that I've got that stuff all cleaned up, got that all figured out. So we're going to start on this one here, just because this one's going to be easier to show you than trying to work under the deck over here or the small one. So what I did, same thing. I took one of these, put it on the deck, marked my line, and then from the top of this one, I measured up 4 millimeter. Okay, so that'll be where the next one goes. And by doing that, what you're going to do is you're actually going to overlap the bottom one, right? Creating a siding effect. It'll look like siding on your house, okay? So that's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to glue the first one in. Now I have sanded one side smooth, The other side I'm not worried about, but one side is smooth. So we're not wasting. Cut these up a little shorter. It'll be easier to work with as well. Now, of course, don't throw any of your pieces away. Now we can trim off this excess later. Grab some glue here. Okay, so we got our glue. Now we're just going to brush some on here, trying not to get it on the deck because you'll have to clean that after if you do. I usually try to put glue on 2 boards at a time. I find with this stuff here any more than that, and it seems to dry out before you get to it. We're going to take our first one, smooth side out. And second one. Now we're going to go top of this to that line. We're going to grab another one, cut another piece. Grab our brush and some glue. Okay, I just realized I did something wrong. Can you point out what was wrong? Or what I did wrong? Kind of no going back at the moment, so we're just going to take a educated guess here. Hope we do it right. Let's see here. Well, if you haven't guessed, I forgot to mark that other board. So, it makes it a little hard to know exactly where to put it when you don't have a line there. Now, I'm not quite sure what I got to do at the top here. I guess I just got to figure it out, fill it in. Now, don't worry about that excess glue on there because I'm going to take a wet Q-tip after and clean all that off. Press all this down. Okay, so it doesn't tell me what to do once I get this far. So I'm just going to take a piece of scrap here and see what it looks like. Everything looks fairly even. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to see if there's anything in the instructions that indicate what I need to do here. So there you go. Now that you've seen it all done, yeah, I'm going to continue on and do the rest of them, and we'll go from there. I'll be back in a few. Okay, everybody. So here, I've got everything done. All the siding up front, I've got all the siding in the back here as well. All three of these are all done. So all the bulkheads are done. Again, decking is done. Nothing goes up front here yet. There's other stuff that needs to be done first. But looking at the instructions, I need to cut these out, and these will be the next things going on. So I'm going to get these cut out. I'm going to get them glued on. I'll come back and I'll explain what I did and how I did it. And then from there, we got to do some sanding on the back side, of these pieces, just to make sure everything's sitting flush. And then from there, we're going to double check all the keel and make sure all the ribs are good and flushed off. Then we're going to start shaping all of this. All right, we're going to start shaping this. We're going to use a piece of the planking, lay it flat, and make sure that when it curves over, you're not sitting on an edge, you're sitting on a flat area. So we'll have to sand that down until the plank sits flat completely on all of them, all the way across, all the way down and down, all of that stuff. So I'm going to get this stuff cut out, and I'm going to get it attached. It'll be fairly simple. It'll go from here all the way through to the back here. Okay, so it'll be easy enough. And like I said, we'll just make sure that it's flush back here, flush on the top edge here, and same thing up front. And then wherever it needs to be flush, it looks like there's a piece here that will touch here. The rest of it, I think, is all above. Yeah, looks like it's all above from that point. So we're going to be good at there. So it's telling me to glue only at the bottom edge of this up top, like up here. So wherever this meets on the bottom here is where I've got to glue. So, yeah, that would be our next step. And I'm thinking, you know what, I might stain this first, just because trying to stain it with these sides on, I may even stain these sides too at the same time. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stain these first. And again, remember, I'm going to be using this inkjet dye ink. So it's inkjet printer ink is what it is for refilling your cartridges. So I'm going to look at dyeing this stuff, and we'll get that done first, and then we'll do this. Okay, so I'm going to dye this stuff, and I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like. Then we'll cut this stuff out and start putting it on. So we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, everybody. Well, I got all that boarded on the walls, like I said, and got everything quickly sanded, and everything is now dyed black. All right. So here's what we're looking at. As you can see the different variances in the wood. You can still see all the nail lines. Right, some better than others, but you can still see them in there. Not sure if I can make them a little darker and a little more pronounced, but they might be okay. I was hoping to be able to see them a little better. Now, I might be giving this a satin varnish, so that might help a little bit too. But no, everything is stained. It's dry. It looks pretty darn good, I think. And went ahead and also stained these ones. All right. Now, unfortunately, I'm not sure about the insides, but you should always look ahead when you're doing stuff. I looked ahead, and just to see what's kind of coming up. Once this is on the side and you start doing your planking, the actual first layer of planking is going to go right up the side of this. So in a way, I've probably stained this for no reason. Waste of time, waste of material, which is not a big deal. If there's any gaps, well, you'll see black behind it. Now, I did both sides. Again, I wasn't sure if I'm going to be planking the inside, you know, I don't know. I haven't gone that far ahead. But either way, the inside is stained as well. So I'm going to get these cut out. I explained how I'm going to attach it here like they want me to. So once I get those attached, I'll come back, and at that point we're pretty much ready. Do a little bit of shaping, making sure everything fits nice. Then we got to start shaping the sides. Once you get the bulkheads all shaped out, then we can start planking. So give me a few minutes. I'm going to put these on, and then yeah, we'll look at shaping and planking. So I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, everybody. Well, as you can see, I've got these sides on. Now, it wasn't too bad. I grabbed pin vise and my micro drill bits. I drilled a small hole on each one of these, and then I used where are they? These T pins. They're just a little T pin, right? Like that. Okay. And I pinned everything down and glued it all along the bottom here. Now I had to use a whole bunch of elastics. So again, get yourself some elastics, and mine came from the dollar store. They like to break a lot, so I don't know if you want to spend money to get better ones, but either way, I mean, it was like what, a few thousand of them for like a couple bucks. And so I've got that glued on, whole bunch of elastics. Now once I got that all dried, I did one side at a time. Then I came back and I opened this up a little bit, like I pried it back a little bit, not breaking it free. And then I got glue down up on the higher spots, right up in here. Used a wet Q-tip, clean that off. Make sure your glue is off. Now I have looked even further ahead, remember, and there is planking that goes on the inside. Okay, so that will be covered as well. But everything here is all nicely glued down. So once I got both sides done, because I did the exact same thing here, right, then it calls to make sure that this is flat and flush along the front here, both sides. I made sure that this was. Now when I put this on, there was a couple that were up a little bit higher, right? There's a notch in these, and this one was up a little bit higher, a couple of them. So make sure it's touching here. Make sure it's touching at the back here. And wherever it seems to overlap, trim it down so that this can sit flat against the upper portion, right? And so you do that on both sides. So everything is good. So once I got that one sanded, then I came back here and I got this one sanded flat because this one was sticking out a bit. All right, so you sand that one flat. Make sure it's good up top here. All right. Now, in my case here, I don't know if everybody's is like that. Maybe they do it on purpose. I don't know. But this one, this curve here, mine's stuck down probably about 1/8 of an inch up top and about the same at the bottom. So I just took my pencil, set where I needed it up here and down here, kind of used my finger as a guide, and went all the way around. Once I did that, I used a rotary tool with a sanding drum on it, and just slowly worked up to that line. All right, all the way up. Now I did gouge out the bottom here, but this all gets covered with second layer planking. All right, and then I just took 320, smoothed it out a bit because you're going to have to plank the inside of both sides here. So we're good to go. So then once that was done, I took my flat file. This one's a diamond file, but you can use just a regular wood file as well. And this one happens to have, I'll zoom in for you. This one here happens to have, as you can see, the diamond grid on the front, right? But then there's a smooth section just after it before it turns back into a round bar, right? Now for me, it seemed to work out nice on this ship that, let's see if I can get you in view here. if I put the flat smooth spot on here, right, I could actually file the contour into it quite easily, going all the way around, right? Now, some of them I haven't done yet, and I'm going to double check with the planking, but back here, and then you come back here, as you come down this sharper curve, it's going to want to dig in over here. Now, I don't want it to do that. I will, as I go along and check this, which isn't bad, I may have to file the actual outside of this a bit so that it's got a taper in. You know, I may have to taper this edge here so that it leaves that one and comes up to this one nicely. But anyways, that's what you're going to do all the way along. You're going to file and sand, constantly checking with one of your planking to make sure that you've got full flat contact between the rib and the board, so that the face of the rib is flat against the board all the way around. Okay. Now I still have to do up here a little bit, but again, this one here, I want to do as I bend this, because it's going to start here. So I'll probably have to shape this keel piece here, and I'll have to probably shape this one a bit. So we'll do that as we go. So I've got the water boiling, and I'm going to use an electric kettle, and I'm going to use the steam, maybe even dip it in hot water. I don't know yet. But this one has to start here on the fourth rib, according to them. And you're going to follow the bottom line of this for your first one. So I've got to curve it, you know, inwards. But then starting right about here, I got to start curving it. Ooh, like that. See? Wish I could have a keel clamp, I tell you. But anyways, yeah, so it's going to curve in, right? It's going to curve into the ship. But then it's also going to curve up all the way along. So I'm going to steam this, and I've got a hot air blower. So I'm going to try and get probably this curve first, get it curved, and then, or I'll get it bowed, and then I'll get a curve to it this way. All right. So, yeah, give me a minute. I'm going to get this first one figured out, see how to do it. Like I said, I've never done any of this before, so if you got tips and tricks, but you can leave them down in the comments below, but by the time I read them, I'm probably done this portion. But I do plan on getting another one someday. So if you got any tips and tricks on this stuff, hey, let me know. And while you're waiting for me to come back, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button to make sure that all notifications are turned on. Give me a follow on my Instagram and my Facebook group. Links for them are down in the description. And if you do want to help out the channel in any way, I have a PayPal me link down there, and I have a Teespring store that you could check out the merch in. So, give me a few minutes, and I'll be right back. Okay, everybody. So, as you can see, that, yeah, from the last clip, which was, so, I don't know, almost 25 days ago, I've been working on this off and on. And just in the last few days, I've got quite a bit done. Still have more to do, and still have sanding to do afterwards, right? But it is getting there, slowly but surely. So, yeah, let me know what you think of this. I still gotta go all the way up, too, with all these planks. I gotta go all the way up. On both sides, still got the front to fill in. Right, but there's a couple little wedges in here that I had to make, so it tapered real thin, almost to nothing at this end, and pretty much same thing at this end, full board in the center. So I'm going to continue on this, but that'll be it for this video, and let me know what you think. And what are we going to do? Oh yeah, I'm going to continue on this. So in the next video, you'll see this done. And probably I'll start doing this stuff in the next video, depending on how far I get along with that. I think it's almost time to start with these ones, which are real thin and should be easier. One other thing we're going to end up doing too is after we get this smoothed down and sanded, I'm going to try and use this stuff here. It's kind of it's a stainable wood glue, and it's kind of like it's got sawdust in it kind of thing, a real fine powdery sawdust. So I'm going to try and use that as a wood filler and smooth it out as much as I can before obviously starting this stuff. So again, let me know what you think. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell button, turn on all notifications so you don't miss out on anything. Give me a follow on my Instagram and my Facebook group. Links for them are down below. And let's see what else. Oh, hey, if you want to help out the channel, I do have a PayPal me link down there as well. And you can check out my Teespring store. Check out some of the merch, right? So, yeah. And if you haven't yet, go check out the other videos leading up to this one. And hopefully soon, my big surprise will be coming in. Should be here the 21st, but there was a bit of delay on the flight from Spain. So for some stupid reason, it's now in Memphis, Tennessee. I don't know why. It's FedEx, go figure. So hopefully it'll be on its way from there to me soon. And hopefully we have it before the end of this week. Doubtful, but you never know. So yeah, keep an eye out for those videos and see what's coming. So with all that being said, no matter how long it takes or what material you're working with, make sure you build it for you guys, right? So until next time, later.